Like between the liberalism
All set?
and the Shaw and...
Good evening. I welcome people to the November 4th, 2015 Tilton Budget Committee. Tonight we're going to look at the Lakes Region Planning Commission, Franklin Visiting Nurses, Hall Memorial Library. Eric, that's all right. I'm just putting things in perspective. We're going to, with the permission of the Budget Committee, I would like to start our meeting with the Lakes Region Planning Commission instead of the meeting minutes. Doing that, I'd like people to introduce themselves, so at least start on a friendly basis. You would be with, sir.
My name is Jeff Hayes. I'm the Executive Director of Lakes Region Planning Commission.
Welcome. And behind you, and to my left,
I'm John Scanlon, I'm a selectman.
and a member of the Budget Committee.
Member.
Wayne Brock.
Jane Alden.
Julie Harvey?
Eric Pyra.
Sir, the floor is yours.
Well, I'm here to answer any questions or anything about the Lakes Region Planning Commission. I have some materials if you'd like. We're in our 39th year. We're a organization that's run by municipalities. Every member town has two members, two representatives to the commission, and they're a governing body. We help to represent the 30 towns of the Lakes region on a number of issues. Transportation planning with the state. Our last meeting was a dual meeting with the Governor's Advisory Committee on Intermodal Transportation, setting the transportation priorities for the state. Every town can appoint members to the Transportation Advisory Committee that's involved in making recommendations to the DOT and the executive counselors who set those priorities, and they eventually go to the legislature, who puts them into law. And we do work with water quality. We run the annual household hazardous waste collection program, and we do a lot of local land use assistance with planning and zoning issues and things like that as needed and requested by communities. So I don't know if you...
Okay, no problem.
We recently, last year, completed a regional plan for the region, along with, as part of a statewide effort. I have some annual reports here, and I don't know if you guys want to take some of this stuff. Gives you a little more detail of some of the programs that we work with. But we're basically trying to work for the benefit of the communities in the region and represent the region as a whole. And we're one of 9 regional planning commissions in the state.
Excellent. Pat and Catherine, would you like copies of the brochures? Okay. Feel free to turn around, sir. You don't have to worry. We're very informal about that. Catherine, question?
No, I'm very familiar with Lakes Region Planning, meeting all the time.
Pat?
No, very familiar with you from the selectmen and Randy downstairs.
I'm the PAC member, so.
As we sit together with the Budget Committee and the Select Board to interview candidates for the money, makes it much easier for everybody around.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, if you want to switch back, you got John over here.
Yep.
We just try to make people comfortable. John, questions or comments?
Well, I guess what I'd like to hear is, I don't work much with you directly, although I'm a selectman, but Catherine Dawson does work with you and Pat works with you. Maybe you could overview some of the things that they've worked on in the past year that you're more familiar with. I think that's...
Well, I mean, I think the discussion about being on the Transportation Advisory Committee, that's a group that meets monthly and works on transportation priorities for the region. We do a yearly transportation improvement plan, and then we work on the 10-year plan for long-range transportation projects. The Household Hazardous Waste Program is a program that's been going on for almost 25 years. We save communities quite a lot of money in doing joint collections in the region versus a lot of economies of scale in doing those sorts of things. And then we're just available on a call-up basis for the planning board or to answer Landy's questions. So, those are some of the things that we've done with the community over the last year.
John, anything further?
No, that's...
Jane?
Yes, I'm very familiar with you, too. We've used you on the planning board. You also do workshops, and a lot of us have gone to workshops
Sure, yeah.
involving you, and I find you very helpful.
Thank you very much.
And I find your site very helpful as well.
Good.
I use that a lot.
Excellent.
Anything further, Jane?
No.
Jules?
Nope, just looking at through here.
Eric?
Just because I forget. How is the figure determined that you request from the town?
It's basically, there is no, the figure that we're asking for this year is there's no change from last year. We usually increase it by an inflation factor that's based on the CPI. It's basically, the original allocation was basically made, I don't know, 30-some odd years ago, and it was enough to support the executive director at that time, and then there's just been increase for inflation since that time. About 15% of our funding comes from, it's an important 15%, but it's about 15% of our overall funding comes from municipal dues, and then we use that to leverage other, $1 of dues helps us to leverage $7 of other federal and state contracts. A lot of it is transportation and solid waste and other things like that.
Does every town fund you, or?
Yeah, we're lucky that every town, every one of the 30 towns in the region is a member. There's a couple communities that don't currently have commissioners named, but every town is a member.
And so all 30 towns pay some sort of dues?
Yes, yep. Yeah, and it's a formula that's based on population and equalized valuation, and distributed out to the 30 communities.
Do any of the towns pay less than what you request?
No.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, that's all I have.
Jeff, anything you'd like to finish up with? See how easy that was?
No, very, very nice, and it's always nice to come here, and I think it's a good process, and I think it's always important to remember that we're made up of communities, and we try to respond to our membership, and really, you're our governing board, and so if you want us to do, we have an executive committee, we have our commission meetings regularly. The representatives approve the budget, so it's really your organization, and if there's something that we should be doing differently or better, then I'd definitely like to hear it, and the organization is meant to be a service to the communities.
Are there further questions or input from either the select board or the budget committee?
Yeah, just a quick.
Jules, go ahead.
Do you help communities with obtaining TIF districts?
We can help provide, that basically requires we can provide some advice on that. There's an RSA that refers to that. It requires a town meeting vote, so, we're very careful to just be advisory and provide assistance and understanding RSAs and things like that. And we do have an economic development plan that provides economic development priorities and things like that for some guidance on economic development issues. But, yeah, I think we can certainly provide examples and provide understanding of the RSA that allows that, but it's a town vote to do that.
Right,
so
but
we wouldn't really lobby, we'd work with a group that would want to help us, but we wouldn't.
No, go through it, but I understand. But as far as just doing the process of it and choosing where this TIF district would be, have there been any towns in the communities that you've helped with this process yet, or that you know of?
I know I've talked about it with several communities, and there's always a concern about, you give the tax break to the enterprise that's located in the TIF district, and then you hope that they're going to follow through with the development. So there's a little bit of a risk that the community is taking in terms of, is that development going to materialize and pay the taxes that would pay the debt service on, you'd use it
On
to build
that.
infrastructure or something like that in a part of the community to encourage new development. But if that new development doesn't completely materialize, then the town is still left with the infrastructure bill. But I think there is a little bit of a risk, and I think a lot of times that turns off communities, but I think it's an important tool to encourage development in certain situations. And the idea is that, if you did build infrastructure, that would more than pay for itself over time when the development occurs. And so there might be situations where it's less risky than others. But I don't currently know of anybody in the Lakes region who's doing it. I've talked to several communities about it, but I don't know of any. I know Northfield's talked about it. I know Tamworth has talked about it just recently.
Bristol didn't do that? Are they technically in your...
We do a lot of work with Bristol, and I hadn't heard of, in the
thought they went
Economic Development Group, but I hadn't heard that
Not
I'm not
recently,
familiar
but-
with it if they are.
Okay.
I talked with a friend of mine who's on the Economic Development Committee for Northfield, and they found that it wasn't economically feasible for them to pursue it at this time.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a little bit of a risk involved in it, and I think we talked about it on 140 and some other situations there, but
Okay, thank you.
I think it's an important tool. I'm not necessarily against it at all. I think it's just there are some risks involved in it that give a lot of communities pause about it.
Understood, thank you.
Anything further, Jules? Any further input or questions from either board?
I'm just curious. Any fallout from the attacks that you took from the Lakes Region Planning, the Belknap County Commissioners last year?
Really, not much. I mean, we did have those attacks seem to be pretty isolated. There was the representative from Alton who sponsored some legislation to eliminate regional planning commissions. I went to that hearing at the Government Affairs Committee, and it didn't get one vote in the committee.
I was just shocked when I was reading the whole thing, and it was kind of
Yeah.
amazing. I thought there was some support in Sanberton, but I may be wrong about that.
Well, I think it seems to, people have seemed to move on to bigger and better. I mean, the idea that we're some sort of federal conspiracy or that we're trying to take away individual rights, really, I mean, if you don't know who we are or what we're about, you can maybe convince people of that, but anyone who has any dealings with us know that we're advisory, we're totally run by local appointees from elected officials, and it really didn't, I don't think it gained much ground. I mean, it's easy to...
Just made
say
a lot of
stuff.
headlines.
Yeah, it's easy to say stuff, and it's easy to think that, we're regional government trying to take over local control or something, but there's no facts to back that up.
Right. Anything further? If not, Jeff, thank you for coming.
Great, thank you very much.
Go on, enjoy this wonderful evening.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks.
Have a good night now.
Thank you.
Okay, since we don't have our next, I don't know what we want to call them, so I'll just leave it alone. From this point in time, let's go back to the regular meeting. Please take a look at the meeting minutes. See if there's any additions, subtractions, changes.
I went over them pretty carefully, and I didn't see any.
What's that?
I said I went over them pretty carefully, and I didn't see anything.
Okay,
Because I
good.
wasn't there, and I had...
That's okay. We will forgive you. Gives you a chance to still read them, though.
Abstain from them, because I wasn't
Me
here.
too.
Catherine, I like your teacup. Wow, that's nice.
Gotcha.
I have to be careful because I throw things
And spill.
and spill, yeah, and wipe, so I do better. Okay, I make a motion that we accept the minutes as written. Oh,
Second?
second by John. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those abstaining?
Aye.
Okay, you guys have it? All right, let us move on to a discussion of a couple of the individuals that have already made their presentations to us. First, I'd like to make sure that we say hi to Stan and hope he's feeling a little better. And we'll keep him in the loop as much as we can. The second thing is Christina's not here tonight, but what I would suggest we do is we discuss them, then I will take her input when we meet again. For those people that have forgotten, we are not meeting next week. Next week is a holiday, Veterans Day, so our next meeting will be on the 18th. My suggestion is that let us start with CASA. Jane, you had some thoughts around CASA?
Yeah, I'd like to consider giving them more than the $500. But in doing that, I think we maybe need to look at cutting maybe others. And I don't think I'm in a position to recommend which one we might want to cut till we've heard everybody. But that was just my thought of instead of giving them 500, giving them 1,000 this year. I wondered how other people felt about that.
Would you like to put that in a motion, please?
Yeah, I move that we give CASA $1,000 this year.
I second that motion for discussion. Okay, for discussion purposes, who would like to speak to it? And I will take public also.
One of the things, and, you know, I fully support CASA and everything that they do. I took a look over, and they have great accountants, and they've got a good number of assets. I think it was $1.something million just in this area. My concerns are this early in the budget, that giving more to them, it's a nice gesture and it's great, but I just, this is what they're counting on, was it the $500? And that extra $500 we might need to use towards something else. You know, if we could cut it somewhere else, or, you know, and put it there, but that's all they asked for, and we're looking at this year we have no increase on Social Security for a lot of the taxpayers, the senior citizens, the people that are unemployed and still having a rough time. And I just don't feel comfortable increasing it because we're grateful for everything that they do at the budget level. If somebody was to bring it to the floor at the town meeting and it was, you know, unanimous thing, but I think they came up with that number properly, and I'm all for funding it at that rate this time.
Okay. Eric?
I'll hold on comments for now.
Okay. Jules?
In general, I guess I'd have to agree with John, that just because that's what they asked for, and we have other things that are increasing along the way here, so for now, I'm happy with just level funding.
Okay. Further discussion?
Yeah, that's why I said I would like to do that, but I wouldn't want to do that without cutting somewhere else, and I think it's too early to make that decision right now. I think I prefaced even making a motion with that.
Would you like to table this until after the 18th? Would you, the 18th or 20th? So the 18th or the 25th that we're meeting? What's the second week? Joanna, we're the 18th and?
The 11th is no meeting, the 18th is youth assistance in the rec council, and then December 2nd, you've got Genesis Behavioral Health, and December 9th would be the last meeting for the outside agencies.
Okay. Your suggestion is either tabling it or delaying. I'll take my second back, take the motion back, and we'll discuss it on December 2nd. That'll give people time to jaw it around a little bit? And what the budget looks like?
I think, except for if we all feel really unanimous about something, just some of the agencies, we can wait
Right.
until after, like we see the selectmen budget, what we got for health insurance and, and those type of items before we...
I formally take back, not to cut you short, formally take back my second. Jane, do you take back your motion?
I do.
Let us go on to talk about, Island Concert Series has been rescheduled, Joanna?
December 9th.
December 9th. Let us go to New Beginnings. How much did New Beginnings request?
New beginnings.
30.
1530? 1530? I see the nods from our people that know, and I'm not, am I still making a mess on you?
It's all over my folder now.
Oh, I'll get you a new one.
Yeah, this is
That's all.
beautiful.
Okay, 1530. Come on in, have a seat. Do we have a motion to look at that?
I make a motion to look at New Beginnings funding.
To the tune of $1,530. I will second that motion. Open for discussion. Is there discussion? Jules, would you like to lead?
I think we should fund them for the amount requested.
I'll second that.
I've already got past that one, Jane, we're getting there. But you concur? Eric?
What's the second it?
The motion is to fund New Beginnings at
I'm fine with that.
$1,350.
1530.
John?
I'm good with that. Yeah.
So am I, so it looks like we're in your unanimous decision mode. I will also talk to Christine over the period. So all those in favor of funding New Beginnings at, John, what?
$1,530.
Say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Nay. Okay, hearing no nays, ayes have it. New Beginnings. Also remember the funding, we can look at the funding at any time up to, including the town meeting. So if we have changes of our minds, please feel free to do that. We have the Franklin Visiting Nurses Association, who have now come in. We are actually ready for you if you're comfortable. If you are, come on up and join us. While I still have a voice. You get ready and take over the voice. And would you sign in, please? What was the name of the show that we did that? What's your line or something like that?
What's my line?
What's my line? Sign in, please. That's how old I
I don't
am.
think that was it, though. It was something else. It was, I can't remember what it was. I don't think it was What's My Line. What was it? I don't have to think.
See, it's bugging you, isn't it? Can I add some more tea to your folder? Because
I'm all set. I'm dried it out, thank you.
It doesn't look like it's getting enough tea.
Hello, I'm Barbara Mandan. I'm the Executive Director at Franklin VNA and Hospice. I know Wayne, but I don't know any of you.
And we'll be introducing to you in just a second. And you may sit any way you want to, up front here.
In here.
Wherever you're comfortable, if you need to be in the middle or the side, not a problem. Good job, I like a left-handed person because it saves all the aggravation. Because you can reach around. Okay. Would you please introduce yourself on the microphone so we can put you on that little dicky?
I'm Barbara Mandan. I'm the Executive Director at Franklin VNA and Hospice.
You can move that.
Christina
No, she
Mel-
got hers, you can have yours.
I'm Christina Melick, and I am the finance manager who's retiring on Friday.
I'm Nick Johnson. I'm going to be the finance manager that's taking her place. I'm there now, but I'll be by myself filling in on Monday.
John, I unplugged you.
That's
Go
okay.
ahead.
Okay, well, excuse me, because I've never been here before, so we're here to, once again, ask the town of Tilton to provide more support for us, as you have in the past. We rely on town funding to supplement payments we receive from insurance, whether it's Medicare, Medicaid, or private insurance. And we provide services to the people in our community regardless of their ability or inability to pay. Healthcare reimbursement is getting more and more challenging. In past years, Medicare payments always provided an operating surplus, and that is really no longer the case. With those surpluses, though, we were able to supplement programs whose reimbursement wasn't covered, or whose reimbursement did not meet the actual cost of providing the services. So over the last few years, and I'm sure that everybody's aware of this because there's a lot of talk in the healthcare field that, Medicare is working to cut costs in the Medicare programs. So they link payments to our patients' acuity as determined by the OASIS assessment, which is a standardized assessment that measures people's functional, physical, and cognitive abilities, and they score people based on our answers to those questions. Also, they're rebasing every year with that, so they're cutting the payments, so no matter how many points you get this year, we may get, so much money for a certain score. Next year, we'll get less. There's also been sequestration, 2% reduction in reimbursement due to the inability of the federal government to reach a balanced budget, so that was an across-the-board reduction for us. And another Medicare reimbursement issue has been the face-to-face requirement, which is a requirement by CMS that any Medicare patient we see has to have had a face-to-face encounter with their physician, and the physician has had to complete a attestation saying that they saw the patient and what they need for services and why they need services and why they're homebound. And Medicare was, for a period of time, saying that, well, they didn't feel that the physician's narrative statement was sufficient to prove that they required services, so they were denying payment frequently, and it was, post-providing the services. So we provide the services and we're not getting reimbursed for them. This year, we've also had an expense related to a transition to ICD-10 coding. So we've had to train people, and we were also working on training, more people, cross-training within the agency. So between reductions in Medicare payment, insufficient reimbursement from other insurance companies, we find that we have to pursue other sources of funding to help us meet the healthcare needs of those in our communities. We're being asked to do more with us, as everybody is, and no matter what field they're in. We've kept salaries and benefits under budget this year. We're also looking to explore other fundraising options and to pursue grant opportunities in the future. We've been really appreciative of the town of Tilton support of our agency. We believe that every resident should have access to necessary health care and the services that allow them to live in their homes with dignity. So we are asking the town of Tilton for the same funding that we asked for last year in 2014. which is $11,784. And again, that's based on the same per capita rate of $3.30 per person, and based on the 2014 U.S. Census Bureau population figure of 3,571 residents.
Great. Anything you'd like to add? See, I shock them. Don't I do well with that?
I think Barbara covered the broad base of how the reimbursements have decreased and have been challenging, and will continue to do so.
And he thought he was going to get out of this also. Any comments or additions you'd like to make?
No, I don't think so. I think they covered it pretty good.
Excellent. One of the things I forgot to do, which is my old age, Budget Committee members, would you please introduce yourselves for these folks, starting with Eric?
It's Eric Piper.
Juliet Harvey.
Jane Alden.
Wayne Brock, the forgetful one.
And I'm John Scanlon, I'm the ex officio selectman on the
Yes.
Budget Committee. So.
And behind you is?
Constantino Selectman. Catherine Johnson.
Yeah, she's the other person I get to really sing in on. If there's a question from back there, feel free to turn around. So you don't have to show them your back. Okay, and you can actually get comfortable. Eric, would you like to start us, please?
No, not yet. I'm good for now.
Okay, Jules.
Same here.
I'll jump in there if you want.
Well, it's okay, we'll get to Jane. Are you going to say it?
We'll have something.
I always have something.
That's why I'm just going to drink my tea.
I can't say anything bad about visiting nurses, however, and I just wanted to add the fact that you do visit the senior center. You come and conduct programs there. You also have foot clinics there. You do blood pressures, you do flu shots. So I see you actively in the community, in working with elderly people. I see you active there too. So I have nothing but good things to say.
Thank you.
I will have to recuse myself for two reasons.
Well, you should.
I should. I sat on the board of directors for the Visiting Nurse Association, and I will gladly admit I was a patient for a period of time, recovering from my second heart attack. Doctor thought it was a third one, we'll forget him, and found the services to be really well. And you're certainly underpaid for what you put up with people like me. Right, Jane?
That's right.
Okay, so kudos for that. John?
I guess, I can only reiterate what everybody else has said. On the numbers for 2015, are they on track with like the 2014? Well, we had like 1,300 around for 2014. Are we still looking at that same number for 15?
100 what?
We had 1,300 visits. Total visits 2014 would be, 1,299. I was wondering what the trends were this year.
We don't have the stats in for 2015, but in general, we're up a little bit across the board.
Now, I guess last year would be the first year that people were required to cover with some type of insurance. Now, although the paperwork's more and there's less funding, have you found that that's helped at least a little bit, that there's a few less people that have nothing that you can even dig in?
It depends. It's not black and white, because a person could have coverage, and yet there's such high deductibles that we're still find ourselves having to bill the individual for their like $3,000 or $5,000 deductible. So it's almost, for some people, it's like not having insurance.
Same thing, basically.
It's catastrophic
Yeah.
insurance. There's some people that perhaps have had a knee replacement, and they have met those deductibles, and so we provide those services. But again, the reimbursement is less than what our cost is, and we don't have those Medicare surpluses to to cover those losses as we've been able to enjoy in the past.
Would you like to add anything to it, June?
Yeah, one of the things is many of the people who are now covered by the expanded Medicaid are younger people. The majority of our clients are, 65 and older. I would say probably 70% of our clients are, over 65, so they qualify for Medicare. So, oftentimes Medicare is our primary insurer. And I have to say that Medicare has very stringent regulations. We are being measured constantly on our outcomes. So if someone returns to the hospital within a 30-day episode, we get dinged, so to speak, for that. So we have to keep our staff really up to snuff as far as the latest trends and techniques and giving the best care possible. And it's expensive.
Yeah. Nick, anything to add?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, John, anything to add?
No, that's it.
If you feel comfortable turning them around, Pat, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions. I think the work that they do is phenomenal, and I think what is so interesting about the Franklin VNA is that they're really consistent among all our residents in Tilton. It doesn't matter. I don't know how they do the juggling with the insurances, but their care is very consistent among everybody. You can go to one family, one elderly person, and they're getting exactly the same care as the other one is. They've been an invaluable resource to our senior center. To myself and Jane being on the executive committee, we can pick up the phone if we don't know the answer. They will probably have the answer, and if they don't, they'll get it for us and call us back. They've been an invaluable resource in that respect, and they're always looking to expand their programs at the senior center. For the money, for $2.30 per capita, to me, it's well worth knowing that kind of insurance that we have in Tilton.
Anything further? Catherine?
Questions. I like your experiences with the nurses, but it is one of the few outside agencies that we buy services from that can serve all of our residents from, newborn to 100. So they're well worth the money that we send them.
That doesn't mean you can ask for more than
Right. So you're saying there's actually hope for us dinosaurs?
Yes.
There's us dinosaurs roaming the earth. Okay. Anything you'd like to add?
No, thank you very much for your time and having us.
Thank you.
Thank you
No
for
problem.
all you do.
Anything to add? Okay, Budget Committee, anything to add or ask? Eric's with his pondering face on.
No.
Select Board, are we all set?
All set.
Again, thank you for coming in and enjoy this wonderful evening out there.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
And you can leave your stuff and we'll be more than hand out.
Okay.
If you'd like.
All right, we'll put these downstairs, or you...
No, you can, Jane is our,
Get them down there.
okay. John's gonna take care of that?
Anybody?
Jane or John?
Give him to John.
Give him to John.
It's his birthday, he needs
Oh,
to
that's
get...
right, John's birthday. Oh, we can't say that.
We can sing happy birthday to him.
My,
How old are we now?
I don't know, it's like the 30th anniversary, my 29th birthday or something like that. I don't know, I'm getting up there.
Anyways, for the public, happy birthday, John Scanlon.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
to you.
Leif, would you like to bring your folks up? Okay, take your time.
Are you okay?
Me? Yeah. What?
You don't feel well.
Told you about 8 o'clock.
You guys all set for us?
Come on up.
Better than that
Good
book.
evening.
Are you gonna let them stay behind and not come join you?
I believe they are just here for,
Moral support.
Oh, come up and moral support up here. Come on. Oh, yeah. Heart attack. Yes. And we'll, come on, dinosaurs. Come on. Come on. See, you don't let you stick
Hi,
up
Kathy.
out there. Would you please sign in? We have these.
Oh, boy. we
You'll get to
signed
put up with this over in Northfield. Everyone has to sign in now.
in. Even in Northfield?
Yes, we haven't given up on you folks yet. Although there are days,
Fingers before I hand this to you.
It's fine. I don't care.
and we'll even offer you a piece of candy or a lollipop.
Here you are.
I think you and Jules and I are out of sync with the rest of the
Sometimes we
world.
get too serious. Right?
Yes.
Dari thinks that book's
And we're
great.
all doing the same thing.
Book is great.
We haven't started in
I
Northfield.
showed her the pictures.
Oh,
He doesn't know what you're talking about.
what is it? I don't understand. Was it a joke?
We've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I was joking? I just said
Okay, everyone, thank you for coming. Before we start, please introduce yourselves so the public will know who you are.
I am Jennifer Davis. I'm the director of Hall Memorial Library.
And I'm Leif Martinson. I'm the chairman of the Board of Trustees at the Hall Memorial Library and a resident of Northfield.
And I'm Kathy Mitchell, and I'm the Tilton representative to the library.
You're welcome. Let us introduce first the select board up back. Catherine?
Councilor Nelson, Selectman?
Pat Constantino, Selectman.
John Scanlon, Selectman, ex officio.
He gives all that good stuff. Wayne Brock?
Jane Alden.
Juliet Harvey?
Eric Potter.
Floor is yours.
I don't have anything super prepared in terms of
Okay.
an actual statement, but I did bring some statistics for you. I know that everybody enjoys numbers. I just wanted to point out some of our fantastic programs that we've had at the library. In particular, I wanted to point out that our numbers continue to be very decent, and we're offering really great programs. If you look for 2015, that is the year-to-date, so it's only the first 10 months of the year. And we seem to be on track for meeting our numbers from last year. Our checkouts remain pretty steady. Our ebook usage has been going strong. Our computer use is unbelievable. We've been hard-pressed to meet our computer needs. And I would like to point out that we've had about 484 volunteer hours, including just recently the kids from the SAS school, which is the school across the street for kids who need extra help in earning all of their credits. They came over and helped us with our book sale, which is currently going, and they did in about 2 hours what would have taken us all week to do, so we very much rely on those things. Donations and help in kind. It's that nature. I would point out on the bottom, we do have a lot of items donated to the library. The 722 number is the number that we've added to our collection. It doesn't include all of the donations that we receive that we put to the those numbers. We did this year have a large improvement to the library. We put in new lighting into the old section of the library, and it has made a world of difference. It's absolutely beautiful back there. It's fantastic. Jaguar Electric did that over the summer. Small improvements. One of our smaller improvements is we started a memory garden in memory of Kelly Finnemore, who was our children's librarian. And we hope to, we've started it, it's work in progress, so that's pretty exciting. What kind of questions do you all have about the library?
Oh, we'll get to those in a second. We're really good at that. One of the few things we are good at is questions. Good. But before that, we kind of lure you in. Like a fisherman, you put that hook out there and it's coming. But that's okay, because then I go to Leaf over here and I say, would you like to add anything at this point in time?
Fantastic advocate for us. So-
Thank you. What I would add is that while our numbers are consistent with probably the last 3 or 4 years, we really haven't grown to the level that we had 10 years ago, 15 years ago now, since we opened the addition. We saw a huge increase in the first few years after that. We've now leveled off. That's not to say we're not busy. You can see from the numbers we're every bit as busy as we ever were. What we're experiencing now is a lot of the same pains that the community is experiencing. So we have kids and adults that sometimes make trouble in the library. We have we're talking now from our most recent trustees meeting about having to add cameras in the library, for the first time ever, just to protect ourselves and our patrons and give information to whoever we need to give it to if something should happen. Nothing has happened yet, but we have to send enough people out the door or give people enough 1 and 2 and 3 chances to lead us to believe that it'd be more beneficial for everybody to have cameras in the building, much like they do in the schools, unfortunately. We're also looking at a new program as of this week in terms of managing our computers. We get so many people in that are using the computers all day long that we can't keep up with the maintenance on them, and we end up having to use one of our circulation people whose job it is to deal with books and patrons to spend half of her time just maintaining computers, and that's not an effective use of her time, and it's not part of her job description. So we're looking at a partner company that would actually maintain our computers remotely, where everything would be downloaded from their site wherever they are, somewhere in Canada.
British
right?
Columbia.
British Columbia. And would have a program where they would be replaced on a regular basis and centrally managed remotely, so that we wouldn't have the constant uploading and downloading of software and debugging Windows problems and, the things that Brittany spends 15 hours a week doing now instead of doing library work. So,
Super.
and that may end up saving us money in the long run, because what we really do is that when a computer gets to the point where we just can't keep it running anymore, we invest a few $100 more in getting it cleaned up, and then we throw it out and replace it. And right now, I think we have, 7 public access computers?
We have 5 public access
5.
computers and 2 cataloging kiosks. The one of them has been for a while.
And those things are busy and booked pretty much the entire time that we're open, 5-6 days a week. So it's amazing how many people come in to use the computers that don't have one at home, or don't have wireless at home even. So,
Ma'am?
I continue to be impressed with the offerings
the calendar,
for
yeah.
children who are really just starting to read, and for young adults, the teenagers, and everyone up to the senior citizens. There's something for everyone at this library, and it really is a remarkable place. And I'm always stunned when I go in, because the place is packed and everybody's busy doing something. They may be playing chess, they may be doing other things, but it's a real community center.
Our calendar takes up a half a page in the Winnisquam Echo every week.
I've noticed that.
Thank you very much. We will start with questions from the back, so if you feel you want to turn around, we'll start with Catherine.
Wow. Okay, so, why this year is your request from Tilton higher than Northfield?
That's a good question. They should be equal. Last year, Tilton gave us more than Northfield did, but the request to the 2 towns should be equal. If it's not, then we'll fix that.
Yeah, we decided to do a 3%.
Total increase
Total.
across the budget, but it should be split evenly between the 2 towns.
So
That's
that
an
would have been a
oversight.
math error on my part.
Yeah. We'll amend that.
Well, oops.
We will amend that request to make sure it's equal between the
I was curious, because for
2.
years, it's always been the same.
Yeah. I think probably what happened was, this budget was put together while Eliza was on walkabout, and, we didn't get a chance to edit it once we got it back from her, so she probably just took 3% against both numbers instead of the total.
So what would you do, just take the total, split it in half, so it won't make a difference on the bottom line?
Correct. Correct.
Okay. I couldn't hear a lot of what you said, unfortunately, because I'm sitting behind you, but books are, anyway, I have a hard time getting my grandchildren to read a book. They'd rather stick their face in their phones and computers. Do you have any programs you're doing that will keep their interest in books somehow?
Well,
there is a difference.
we do have programs that start when they're young. We just started a 1,000 before kindergarten program to get kids reading. If they read 100 books, they get a book bag, and there's a packet that the state has put together for we purchase some items for. We do a lot of book talking during programs.
What about for like the middle school kids? I mean, they probably wouldn't get excited about a book bag, but maybe they have their certificates at Tilton House or one of the others, or...
Summer reading program is probably the best example of that.
Or something.
Our summer reading program is the best example. They can enter a raffle, and we pull out prizes like gift cards to the pizza places and Smitty's. We collect games
And that's great that it's like that.
You can read in order to earn the raffle points.
All those kids that can't walk to the library in the summer.
It's hard.
And then why not 4 seasons? I mean, you might grab them in the summer, but we lose them the other 3 seasons.
I guess for the other 3 seasons,
And the school doesn't really, I mean, they have to read books in school, but they're not books that they choose to read. So I think there's a huge difference. I know there is in my household, I'm raising a 16-year-old granddaughter.
well, we do have a very vibrant young adult section, especially for a library our size. It comes with
But you've got to get them there.
I know.
That's the ticket.
Yeah.
How to get them there. You know,
Food.
Great question. I think
and how do you get them to continue to use the library as a resource for
Well,
projects and studying in school? And I think that's getting lost.
a recent Pew poll showed that young adults are reading more now than adults are reading. 80% of young adults are in the last month have read a book. And so that was from between 16 and 24. So I think that it's definitely going to ebb and flow, but research now is showing that people are still reading. 72% of Americans in the last
What
month.
about in our community? But they're really not.
I mean,
I mean, that's a
hard. I'm not
statistic
sure
or
how to-
something.
I'm not
but-
sure how to address that. It really has to be from, like, we can publicize, we can offer the programs. We do offer a lot of young adult programs. to
And the
bring kids in.
library also has that, you can read online, you can download books
We do have the
from
New Hampshire
the,
downloadable.
what is it, from the public, the state library?
State library.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from the state library.
Because I've used that.
It is fantastic. And there's a waiting list for some books, just like there is with the community library. Unfortunately, sometimes it's the digital divide that
How do you publicize your program?
Facebook.
we use Facebook, we have an Instagram account. We
How
send
about
out-
people who don't use computers?
We send out press releases to all of the radio stations. It goes into the Echo, the Daily Sun, and the Citizen.
I would also put in perspective, the focus of the school system has not been books for a while. In fact, we went through that debate over e-books, and Kindles and all that stuff being handed out to high school students. And they're just starting over at the elementary school where children are able to get books to hold on to. So it's going to take a while, but that comes from the school also, that the school's public is being computers. And in fact, every ninth grader now gets their own notebook, and so they give up on books.
And that was my next question, because that's what we do, is we buy services from you. We're really not supposed to be selling you so much as buying services, so, although the library's a little different. Do you partner with the school?
We try.
Programs?
Yeah, we try.
And back to the, how do you get your, programs out there? If you would send it to the town of Tilton, like, to the attention of the Board of Selectmen, I'm sure we would be more than willing to put it on our website, as well as if you had a poster or flyer, put it up on our board.
For example, our entire calendar is published every month in the Northfield News, the online newsletter that goes out in Northfield. I'm not sure if there's a Tilton
doesn't
version of
have
that. But if you have a calendar, we could
But if you
certainly
send it to us,
link our
we could-
calendars.
Oh, that would be great.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
We try to get the schools to send kids to us. Everybody, part of our policy is that if you're in the school district, you have the right to come and use the library, teachers included, whether you live in town or not. It's, part of one of the services we offer. If I had my druthers, there wouldn't be a library in the Union Sanborn School. They would be using ours, because that's how it was when I went there.
And it
Even
has been
a little bit after Wayne went there.
It has been easier to partner with Union Sanborn. They go over twice a year with each one of the classes to get a tour and a book talk and a story time so that everybody will be comfortable with it and can use it. Our children's librarian goes to Southwick and does book talks, and Brittany works really closely with Marcia at the high school to get information out about our library and see what some of the upcoming needs are. We also partner with the school. They give us, in the summertime, they give us some of their books so we can keep them available for the students in the summer. And those have actually gone out quite a lot. And this year's a little different. The new principal at Union Sanborn has been very busy, so we haven't gotten around to making arrangements for that yet, but it's something that we're looking forward to. Miss Julie also does story walks with the school. So they'll all go on a walk, and along the way, they'll make stops, and the stops she'll be reading from the book that the students have.
Does the school will give out summer homework, if you will, and usually it's reading.
A lot of those.
I remember I took two of my grandchildren to the library to get a copy of the books from their list, and they were like, so unaware. I was upset about it, but I was also upset that the school didn't make them aware of it. Here's a list, read these books. But, there are some parents in this community that really can't afford to go like 20 books for the kids to read for the summer.
Catherine, can we come back?
Absolutely.
Pat?
I just have one real quick, simple, on the front page of your, it says, Northfield provides almost half of our funding. Why?
The Northfield Budget Committee reduced the funding to what was level from the prior year during the budget cycle last year, and it was not increased during town meeting, although an attempt was made. There was a compromise, and there was an attempt for an increase, and we met some of them. It was muddied with many other amendments.
Oh, that's the year they grouped them all.
This was last year, yeah. I don't know if they're going to do that again this year, but I should also say that I am a member of the Budget Committee in Northfield, so during those deliberations, I just sit out, and I can answer questions, but I don't vote on that line in the budget, unfortunately. It's one of the other things that is going to affect us. It's going to be slight, but it gets down to the two communities trying, our hope that the two communities fund us equally. Northfield has told us, has told me, hasn't written us a letter yet, but has told me that we're not going to pick up our trash anymore either. So for the last 100 years, we've been leaving our trash on the street like every other household or business in Northfield, and that's going to stop, and we're going to have to hire a private company to do that. I'm not sure how that's going to save anybody any tax dollars, but it's just one of those things that I answered more of the question than you asked.
It just amazes me how many things sitting in the budget committee, year after year after year, that we come across that Northfield is not quite happy with this.
Anything?
Funny moment, sometimes, particularly, we value resources here at the library.
Well, there
That
again.
gets me.
Good. Anything further, Pat?
Hire a private contractor to pick up your trash.
Welcome back.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I'll be having a conversation with the selectmen first.
All of us, please.
Yes.
I'll give you an opportunity to turn back. Mr. Scanlon?
Okay, let's see.
He's been looking at his papers, so this would be good.
Yeah, I'm always looking at my papers. Going over numbers, the heating's going up. What type of fuel do you use?
We're burning oil, so we expect that to be lower this year. Most of the heating numbers are because we also have some heating maintenance in those numbers. We've had a lot of trouble with our system in the last few years.
Because actually, you've got the number for the heating amount going up by a couple thousand.
We're in the same oil contract as the school, so we're locked into what their contract price is.
That's what the school did?
Yeah.
And
But
this
they
year
didn't
we-
send you people to
Yeah.
look at books, but they sent you a bigger bill?
This year, we're evaluating, this past year, we evaluated switching to natural gas and replacing our boiler because our boiler is cracked.
Where do
It's
you-
repaired, but it's cracked.
Where do you get the increase in the bill for the local cruisers?
Yeah, we got estimates on a replacement boiler, and when we went to the gas company to see what kind of incentives they were offering, they were out of incentives, so we decided to wait till next year.
Actually, right now, fuel oil's cheaper.
Fuel is cheaper
Yeah.
anyway. We're more worried about the boiler itself than the cost of the fuel, because we're running on borrowed time
Yeah.
for the boiler.
And I think that the copy you have now doesn't reflect the most recent numbers. We've already had to have somebody come in and fix the furnace again, so that number will have gone up. Furnace repairs is now.
just
I
looking
was
at the
just looking at
fuel cost.
the requests in the request. Now, the electricity, who do you get that through?
That's PSNH,
Eversource.
Eversource.
Okay, because one of the things that the town does, and I'm sure Tim would help you with that, he gets some great deals on the electric, based on how much usage and that. I don't know, and, it's, if that could be piggybacked onto the town and then paid out through that way, where you predict how many kilowatts you're going to be using. And I believe it's like a third less of what
Really?
PSNH is costing. So if you were to look at your electric bill of $8,000, you could get that down to, like maybe six or so, save a couple thousand. And
So the town has Eversource?
We have Eversource, but we buy outright from a direct energy source, which you can
That's the
do.
trick.
Yeah.
And then it's less for a period of time. If anytime you don't like it, you can always just be direct billed from Eversource.
yeah, you can switch back anytime.
And if you get in touch with Tim Pearson,
You can talk about it.
This is time sensitive too, because they lock you in on prices, and you've been on it now. And Tim might be able to help you. I don't know if there's something where, is if we guarantee them more electric usage or purchasing, say, okay, well, we'll get the
I don't think that's the way
library.
it is, though.
Library in
We
the-
have to show them our billing on, all our bills from our different buildings that we have. So what we generated a year's worth, and then they estimated what it would cost. So we actually had a significant savings the first year, the same savings the second year. I think this is like our fourth year we've done.
Yeah.
Tim Pearson is the finance officer.
okay, John?
So that's another great one. And I'll tell you, it's disappointing that the school, they really need to say, hey, go to the library and get a book. Learn how to do it. And
Well, I think the middle schoolers, they come in and have said, we need, we've been told that we need to take a book off the list.
we want to come in and get, that's what we,
Better if there was a field trip, though, wouldn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
More impactful.
Yeah.
We do, I should say,
It's very often in the last 2 weeks of
Yeah.
August, right before school starts.
we do have a lot of middle schoolers that come to the library on their way home from school and spend the evening. Sometimes they spend more time than we'd like them to. But they're there and they're in the library, and some of the time they're reading.
We do have a lot who come in to use our Wi-Fi too, because they don't have it at home, and to charge their computers. Like you said, the ninth graders all get computers, and
There's really no excuse, John, because we bus students every place in the world. And I won't even go into that.
We've talked about this.
It's just, anything else, sir?
I'll pass for now, I'm sure.
Okay, I have just 2 points. One is, you've done a wonderful job with the children's section down there. I actually wandered over this week, because I finally got the doctor to say I can wander. Not too far, but wandering. so I took my car anyways. The Children's Center, and the artwork is wonderful when you come in, going up the stairway. It just grabs your attention. For kids, it was just amazing, because I believe this is the presidential series?
This was a special, unfortunately, it's gone. It's been passed around to the library of the state, but it was from Kyrgyzstan. I'm not sure of this.
Yeah,
I can see the
Kyrgyzstan.
I can't pronounce it. And it was done by a lot of young children and from that country, and then it's on display and all rotating through all of the libraries in the state.
And the second piece to that, well, the third piece really, if nobody's ever gone over, just go over and sit in the library. Bring your computer with you, look out the windows. Because it's beautiful just to sit there and to do the computer and just look and say, I'm not doing the computer anymore. I'm just going to look. Jane?
Tuesdays are very busy. It's very active with a lot of our adult services. So during the day, it's pretty busy. And then Wednesdays are crazy busy with all of our story times and our craft time after school. So if you're looking for some...
But it is fun to sit there with Wi-Fi and just watch the insanity. Jane?
I've often said that you can tell a lot about a town by its library. And anytime I go into a town, I always look for the library, because it should be, in my opinion, the most important building in town. The last two towns I lived in, Derry and Atkinson, New Hampshire, both towns built new libraries. Or in Derry, they renovated it, and it's gorgeous. I've not even seen a movement or discussions about doing that here.
There's a reason for that.
Well, that's why I'm bringing it up.
The library that we have in Northfield was formed through a trust about, I want to say, 1895? Is that right? 1885. And in 2001, when we put the addition on, the reason that we put that addition on and the reason we had to get all the variances for all the setbacks that we violated to construct that addition was that in the trust documents, if that building was no longer a library and we had outgrown it, we couldn't continue with the services we were expected to offer in the building that we had, that the trust would be dissolved and the building would be returned back to the original owners. I mean, the family of the Hall family that formed it. And so, while I think it's a beautiful building, I hope you agree.
Oh, I agree.
It's frustrating that it's
small.
It's small. It serves two towns, and I think it serves two towns well. Where it gets frustrating is just in the structure of the governance of it, right? Because it's not in Tilton, and because it's not owned by Northfield, it's owned by the trustees, technically. We have to take funding from two towns, but neither of the two towns can control how that funding is spent. And Tilton, obviously, would love it. Love to have more control over it, love to be able to expand it, build more. You don't see it when you come into Tilton. It'd be nice if we had a forced roundabout that would make you go by the library and back out before you can enter Tilton, because Tilton supports it every bit as much as Northfield does and more at times. But the reason that we have two elected officials is because we're taking tax dollars. Otherwise, the other three trustee positions are lifetime appointments, believe it or not. And it's weird. It had to be voted by the state legislature to be allowed to set up this way, and if it dissolved, we would lose the building altogether and it would go back to the family of the trust, which is something we have to explain about every 5 years.
Jane? Thank you for that.
Okay, thank you.
You're
But
welcome.
another thing I'd like to say is that Wayne and I are both on the school budget committee, and
Bless your heart.
you used to be on it
Yes,
too
I
with
did.
us, and you left us. You deserted us.
Hey, Catherine and I are responsible
it
for it
against
even
us.
existing. so
Okay.
I started the first petition, she finished it.
So anyway, what I was going to say was that Wayne and I had the Union Sanborn School for 2 years to go and talk about it. And Wayne brought up the fact that we saw little kids who, for the first time, had books of their own to hold on to. And it was exciting for me to see that. So I think you have a time now where you have a captive audience of young people coming up who probably have never seen books before. And I'm exaggerating, but I don't think I'm exaggerating a lot. because I think most of the little kids right now at Union Samberton probably go home to homes where there are no books, unlike what it was when we were growing up. So I think you have a captive audience to be able to transfer their love of books right now to a love of books as they grow up, which I think is wonderful. And, I've been through the point of reading online, downloading from Amazon, but I love to hold a book. And I would like to see young people continue to like to hold a book. I think there's something very comforting about it. I'm glad to see that you have a program for coloring for adults, because for those who don't know, that apparently is one of the best ways to relax now.
It's very popular in the meditation world.
Exactly.
Yes.
And we, this past weekend, had a friend who happens to be a librarian in another state. And one of the things she had was a coloring book. And we talked about coloring, so I found that interesting. But one of the things that concerns me, if I look at your programs, you have a whole series of juvenile programs, adult programs, and so on, and you have young adult programs. To me, that's the most vulnerable population that we have. And we see it all the time. We see it every time we pick up the newspaper, we see it when we turn on the TV. And yet, I see the fewest programs here. I wonder why.
I think there's a lot that goes into that, answering that. For one thing, it's very hard to get young adults to the library, and to get them there in a way that they're gonna want to behave and practice good library manners. Additionally, this doesn't include the programs that we have scheduled that nobody shows up for. So we probably, we schedule at least 2 programs a week for the young adults, and I don't think that's reflected in these numbers, because this is just the ones where people show up. So we often have a lot of no-shows. And then you spoke about the space. We do have a small young adult section with cafe tables and high-top stools for the young adults to sit in and use. But we don't have a dedicated space specifically for the teenagers. And I think that can lead to a lot of people with different agendas in different parts of the library, and it can get loud. And so we do have some space issues that we wish that we could kind of change, but can't currently. I don't know if that fully answers your question, but...
We have also, as of last year, started conversations with the Pines Community Center to see if there's anything we can do to partner with them to try to either merge our groups of young adults or try to, redirect them down the street, get them collected together for both of our needs. But again, it's difficult for the teenagers, especially the teenagers, to get them in the building. There are a lot of them that come in, but if you look at the population of them in the school system, it's probably the smallest percentage. The really young ones, we have so many of those programs because it's moms, stay-at-home dads that are bringing their kids in for the reading times and the craft times and the other programs that we offer.
Our juvenile programs also include our outreach to the daycare in the area too.
Okay.
Nothing further. And we move on to Jules, who's been very patient.
It's all good stuff. I love the library, love the building. My kids are 14 and 12, so. But I just had a question about you mentioned the computers. I also work in a library in Plymouth, and what's that?
Do you work at Pease?
Yeah, well, I work in the building, but I'm not a librarian. It's nice, but this building is nice too. Anyway, just a suggestion, I know the computer thing the maintenance on it is big, and they have a program where their computers all reset to the original. Every night, they automatically reset, so you don't have to do antivirus, worry about everything that's been downloaded. they reset to zero like every night. It's frozen. I don't know what it's called, but I can get the name of that.
We have software that basically wipes out all the internet browsing and all the activity every day.
Okay.
It's called Centurion.
Oh, right, that's
But
it.
it doesn't
Yeah.
fix things like somebody trying to download a piece of software, or Adobe Acrobat isn't working, or, and maybe
Oh.
what you have to offer will take care of that as well, but
I don't know.
And it's really the updating of the actual computers itself that has taken up the bulk of Brittany's time.
Doesn't automatically up, you did sign up for, won't allow that?
But
or-
like when it's time to update Microsoft, all of our software has to be shut down, and so we have to take time away from our users and Brittany's time, and it'll install 100 updates. She does it a couple times a week, so like some computers will update 100 things and another computer will update 40 things, but sometimes it won't work at all and she'll have to do a system reset. It's becoming less and less reliable.
Okay, I didn't know how much the cost of the service that you're outsourcing is going to be compared with possibly
We don't know
just
yet
having a
either.
person on board that does it, but it's probably going to be less, I don't know.
the great thing about libraries in the state of New Hampshire is that they all belong to this listserv, where they put questions out, and then other librarians that are having the same issues respond back. So they're all like in this virtual chat room all week long, and nobody has experienced a problem that somebody else has never dealt with, we hope. We don't want to be the first in any of them, but it's great to get answers like that. So we learned about this software from the library in Barrington, right?
Yes, and I've heard back from them and they love it.
So the only other thing I have is I've thought a lot about the problem of teenagers, getting the teenagers in the library, because I see the same problem at Pease where they have the programs and they're very lukewarm attended. You did have I just have a suggestion, the speed date a book. Somebody had that over there, and I thought it was great, and the kids loved it, and it was like perfect for my son. I didn't know if that would be something like that you could do for the teenagers as well, or the young adults, where they get, I noticed, stuck in one series and they can't break out of it. My son's like that.
The Warrior series is really exciting right now. It's about cats. I don't understand why it's so exciting, but...
Familiar with that series, yes.
We have done speed date a book twice, and it's gotten really great reviews. Like, we have some programs that have just gotten rave reviews, and the kids want to come back for, the young kids and the older kids, and speed date a book is one of them. We don't repeat them often because we're worried that we'll burn them out. So for speed date a book, we try to keep it around February and Valentine's Day and do something like that.
Okay.
A lot of our young adults who come in, they just want a space to sort of be left alone. They don't necessarily want something constructive. They want to be able to like read their books, use their phones, chat with their friends, and just kind of hang out.
True.
They're the same at home, so.
Yes, they're a lot.
I have a 16 and 18-year-old.
And if I've ever kicked your child out of the library, I'm terribly sorry, but you're more than welcome to call me about that. Because I do, if somebody's breaking a violation, I do kick them out en masse, because usually it's not just the one kid who's done it, it's somebody who's led them down the path, and so we're all out. Everybody knows the rules. So.
Yeah. All right, that's all I have.
Jules, all set?
Yes, thank you.
Eric?
I'm going to be the bad one here.
Okay, go for it.
No, not bad in that way, but I've lived in town for 15 years. I've been to the library one time.
Oh.
I know.
Well,
Bad
I know.
person.
Yeah.
that's more than some selectmen in Norfolk.
I know, but my daughter loves the library. My daughter is, I say I can hold 100 books on here, but my daughter says I can't bring that to my nose and put my nose in it.
And smell it.
Well, here's my next complaint. We've talked a little bit about the schools, and my daughter says that the school library at the high school is horrible.
I can't do anything about that.
No, but how do you, I mean, we're talking about young adults here, and how do we get them from that library to your library? And, to utilize. I mean, my daughter, like the other day, we were down in Manchester, and they said, oh, we gotta go to Barnes and Nobles, so. Like, I'm out $100 every time I go to Barnes and Noble because my family likes books.
Should bring them to our book sale right now.
Yeah, but she'll sit there and I hope she's not watching, but she'll take like an hour to pick out a book, and I'm like, all right, I go in, I look on the front table, and I go in a shutdown mode. I get a couple books at Christmas, I get a couple books for Father's Day, and it balances out my year. So, but I have a stack of books like this high next to my bed that I've read once, and because I like them, but I'm not going to read them again, So, but we talked a little bit about getting the word out there, and I was just looking at your Facebook page because I'm a big advocate for social media, but your posts are going out like 2 in the morning.
Yeah, we schedule
One who's up at 2 in the morning.
They're scheduled.
Yeah, we schedule them. I mean, I can definitely change that.
Yeah.
It's hard. We don't get a ton of likes. Social media hasn't necessarily taken off for us. In the reports we get back, it's like, this post was seen by 16 people, and I know we have...
Right, but you have 469 or 96 likes on your Facebook page. And, I'm thinking that between the two towns, how many residents are there? 7,000 residents. And probably at least 5,000 of them have some type of Facebook account. And I will offer myself to sit with you because it is about timing. It's about scheduling. 2 o'clock in the morning is not the time to schedule your thing because no one's looking at it.
Should be after school.
Well, you have to look. There's a way for Facebook to tell you when your people are on.
Oh,
For me, what I do, Sunday night 8 o'clock. Well, guess what? Sunday night 7:30. Guess where I'm sending out Facebook posts and emails because everyone's sitting at home. That's when they plan their week. The parents are home, sitting home. Little Johnny goes to bed, little Susie goes to bed, and if you're timing it, but text posts don't do well. You have to track with video. We are I don't know what the right word is, but it's color, it's bright. It's not bright. I'm just using this as two extremes, but this one, where's your eye immediately drawn to? The color. And it's the same thing. We're so overburdened today. I see it in the newspaper, but I don't take the time to read it. It's like reading a big article sometimes, and sometimes less is more. You just tease them a little bit and get them that. But then you post the pictures of these, and you take little video snippets and to do that. So I will make it a point to take my second visit to the library.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something my family goes, okay, I don't think, I'm not against the library, I'm not in any way, shape, or form, but, I work at a place in town where we're going for the same people, okay? We want the kids to come into town, or I want kids to come into town, but I go after that preteen teen market, and it's very hard to get them, but you have to give them something exciting to do. And, so I just, again, books I think are different, but how many computers do you have?
Right now?
Yeah.
We have 5 public access computers.
And they're constantly being used?
And then 2 laptops, yes. Pretty much constantly. I mean, we definitely, it ebbs and flows. There are quieter times of the day, but...
Is it just funding that you can't put more in, or is it you just want to keep it at 5?
It's kind of a space issue. We really have room for just 5 where people are at, with the possibility of having another one downstairs. It's hard to monitor the downstairs area, though, so...
But the good point is there's Wi-Fi over there, it's free.
Right.
So you can bring your own computer and sit.
Yeah, but the more people you have on that Wi-Fi, the slower it's going to get.
And that is often a problem.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, with the school giving out all the notebooks, it's certainly 9th graders and up could be at the library working.
Well, I mean, at the sports center, I set my Wi-Fi up for 25 visitors, devices, but if they have the memory, they all go in. So everyone, if I have 2 or 3 people come to me, I take them all off. I kick them all off, so that at least they have to go in and purposely reboot.
Often our Wi-Fi is picked up by some of the local apartments too, and it'll just bog down the entire service, and we'll have to turn it off.
Do you put it as a password
Do you have a
protected?
password?
It is not password protected. It's another, we've definitely thought about it. Giving out a password every day would definitely,
Not every day.
No, you
Once
wouldn't
a
have
month.
to do it every day.
yeah, well, we could do it once a month, but then a lot of those people who are using.
Sharing.
Well, yeah, but if they're using it in the library, the ones who are really close, the people who live really close to us come in and use the library, so they're going to have that anyway, and they'll use it at home.
Help the Hibberts.
Oh, you can actually sit out in the parking lot.
Yes, you can.
Well, I
Sit
just
out in the
have
parking
McDonald's,
lot and you can get on.
I'll go snag their Wi-Fi.
Okay, Eric, anything further?
Just the other, you had mentioned the possibility of putting cameras in. Have you estimated the cost? And
No,
where's
we
the
just
money
had
gonna
our
come?
monthly trustees meeting on Monday. And
Yeah.
that was the first time we talked about it, so
Okay.
we're going to be calling local. We already have a security system through Mango, so we'll obviously get a quote from them.
Yeah.
But we'll go to 2 or 3 other places as well to get an estimate.
Not cheap, but it's, I mean, you can go, there's cameras that you can buy and, you know,
I'll put Tim.
yeah.
Yeah, Tim has looked at that as well.
I mean, sometimes,
We put it in, we have Mango too, but we put our own system in, digital system, very high density digital.
The place where we need it the most is going to require the most wiring, because we only have wiring in that section through the floor, not through the walls. So it'll be another interesting,
We did it at the senior center, and that was a real issue.
Yeah.
But we did it.
yeah.
just, could that library ever be expanded or no? Or is its footprint set for life?
I don't think we could make it any bigger now
Yeah,
than we have.
okay. I was just a curiosity, because it was kind of.
You ought to take a visit again.
I'm gonna go take a visit.
The addition we put on almost tripled the size of it in 2001. And so it lasted for
That's right when I
100
moved-
years.
that's right when I moved into
120
town.
years, with its original size, and we tripled it, and 15 years later, we're bursting at the seams. But on the land that we own today, I don't think we would ever get approval to go any bigger.
No,
Interestingly.
Unless we built like a tower.
Not in Northfield. In Tilton, you could.
There is a sister library in Massachusetts that had
Gardner, Mass.
Gardner, Mass.
Yeah.
They had the exact same footprint that the original library here did, and they could not expand back as we did into the new part like we have. But they have a second rail along the top, and I think they're grandfathered because they are certainly not ADA accessible or in compliant. But so they have a rail that goes around the inside, and they a use of their space that's very tiny.
So our original building, if you go into it, you'll see that it's got very high ceilings, higher than this. And so what the Gardner did is they actually built the second story that is enough for, I don't know, probably 20 stacks around in a U shape. And so there's a stairway that goes up to it, and then you walk around, you can look over the edge, and so push came to shove, we might be able to do that someday, but I don't.
Franklin Pierce did that. They built up, they put carousels and desks around the walkway, so you could sit and use your computer and read. So, anything further?
no, I was gonna say my family's, except for me.
Great. Any further comments, questions from the Budget Committee? From the Select Board? John?
Happy birthday, John.
Pat is fine. Pat's ready to go home, like the rest of us, and we're getting there. Would you like to add anything to your presentation?
No, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and thank you for your presentation. And you will see me.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I'm sorry. Oh, that's not.
Good to see you.
Have a great evening. Go and enjoy what good weather we kindly had.
You didn't expect such a long-winded budget committee, did you? You did, Kathy, I'm sure, knowing us.
I left Chuck next door.
Oh, okay.
The reason why I don't go to libraries is because they.
You need help driving him home?
Fine,
We will see.
yeah.
Happy birthday.
I'm going to go check and see if Chuck's all right.
I think you
I
should.
go to Redbox. and it's like-
I'll come with you, okay?
Not
You should have brought him up.
It's a $10 movie. I might have just bought it.
Okay, no problem.
Good to see you, Kathy.
That's good, I'm glad you're doing
Am I
it.
supposed to
Did you
put-
get your
it says
tire
Or do you want where I live?
taken care of?
No, you're fine.
Tired, and I only have like 10,000
Stealing
miles.
a
Okay, is there any further
Thank you.
business for the Budget Committee?
Take more than one.
Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the shipping.
Hearing no further
Make a
business,
motion to adjourn.
well, first, before we do that, I would recommend that the business we did not complete tonight, we hold over until the November 18th meeting. Committee okay with that?
Yes.
Sounds great.
Jane? Go ahead.
Motion to adjourn.
I will second that motion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Have a great evening, folks.
Where's your button?
Yes.
I said.
You have the left column, I could like, plus I have to look at them like this, so I wasn't sure exactly what you were.
What do you think you were sending him for, no?